What's up, guys? Welcome into Verts. I am Harrison Graham. We got some NFL Week 7 reaction to the early window games, a couple of notable injuries, and my takeaways from a couple of the big-time matchups. Before we get to all of that, thank you guys so much. We crossed 4,000 subscribers. We went live for the first time earlier today with a little Week 7 hangout stream, so thanks to everybody who joined that. And if you want us to do more live shows like that, and if you enjoy the NFL and college football, subscribe. Let's continue to grow. Next milestone is 5,000 subscribers. If it couldn't get any worse in Cleveland, it somehow did, as Deshaun Watson suffered what appears to be a torn Achilles. Reports came out that that was the fear. Head coach Kevin Stefanski said after the game that is the fear, that Deshaun Watson has suffered a torn Achilles tendon. And I'm not a doctor, but Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chow, he tweeted out the video, the classic calf reverberation, where it was a quarterback draw, put his foot in the ground, tried to plant and run, and the calf just, it vibrates, and it's textbook torn Achilles. Obviously, they're going to have to do an MRI to confirm that, but I'd say it's a 99% chance that's what happened. Browns are saying that's what they fear. Reporters are saying that's the expectation, and it's just a disaster because the Deshaun Watson thing from day one, when Cleveland gave him $230 million, has been a nightmare. And now it just got worse because you're already on the hook for, I think, $90 or $100 more million. Might even be more. It's a lot of money. And now he's out for the year and will probably miss the start of next year. And the first thought I had was, does he ever play again? Does he take another snap in the NFL? Because he's going to get his money. He's had his money. Like, if you're him, do you even, like, what's the point? You're not very good, although he's playing a little better today. No one likes you, and you've made over $250 million by the time you get this full contract in the NFL. I mean, what's the point? Like, the Browns, like, I can't imagine they're sitting at home tonight, Stefanski, Andrew Berry, et cetera, saying, all right, let's hit this rehab hard and let's get Deshaun back and make a push next year. Like, it's over. Like, Deshaun Watson is not saving the Browns. Like, that thing is over with. So now, if you're Cleveland, you got to figure out what's next. Do you cut him and spread the money out over a few years with the post-June 1 cut? Do you just have him on your roster but go in a different direction at quarterback? Do you rehab and maybe trade down a few times, get a bunch of picks, and just let him be your sacrificial lamb next year and try to draft the QB in 2026? I'm not sure. What I am very confident in is that Deshaun Watson is not the answer in Cleveland, and I think there's a better chance he never takes another snap in the NFL than he somehow ends up being a franchise guy again. He hasn't played well. Second straight year with a major injury, shoulder last year, Achilles this year. It just feels like it's done. It feels like it's done for Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns, and if it's done in Cleveland, it's done everywhere because who's going to bring this guy in? The answer is nobody. His career very well could be over. Okay, Jayden Daniels, the Commanders are playing the Panthers right now. They're crushing Carolina 27-0 at halftime. He left with a ribs injury. Now, his mom tweeted out that he's fine. Who knows what that means in terms of official diagnosis. He was questionable to return. I think it's pretty safe to say he will not return. They will just ride Marcus Mariota to victory here and improve to 5-2. Big game coming up against the Bears next week, but certainly something to monitor and something that we were all concerned about with him in the NFL, right? Like, he's a thin, wiry guy. He's going to, if he takes big hits in the NFL, those are going to add up. Those are going to get him injured, and we saw that today. So, they're going to win this game. We'll see if it's a major or minor injury, but something to monitor before a big matchup between the top two picks next weekend, Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels. But he left this game with a ribs injury, 2 for 2, 6 yards, had 3 carries for 50 yards running. Mariota's come in and has been fine, 75 yards on 5 of 9 passing and a touchdown. Andy Dalton, 2 picks in the first quarter in this one. And you look at Carolina, it's like, I get you had to do it at the time. It was so bad. But now your season's kind of done. Do you just go back to Bryce Young and see if there's anything you can salvage there? I would wonder if that ends up being the case for the Panthers. So keep an eye on Jayden Daniels. We'll keep tabs on this. Okay, I do want to react to some of the games specifically and some of the performances. Saquon Barkley just embarrassing the Giants. 17 carries, 176 yards, and a touchdown as the Eagles go into New York, the Meadowlands, and destroy the Giants 28-3. This is the worst possible outcome for New York because if you watch the offseason Hard Knocks, it was pretty clear that owner John Mara did not want to let Saquon walk. And he definitely did not want him to go to the Eagles. The exact quote was, "I don't know if I'll be able to sleep at night if he ends up in Philadelphia." Not only has he ended up there, he's been fantastic, and he just embarrassed you on your home field. If you're Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, you can't be going to sleep tonight feeling pretty good about that. And Daniel Jones, I know they put Drew Lock in the game late. They need to do that permanently. It's done. You can't keep trotting Daniel Jones out there if you're serious about keeping this locker room. He's just so bad. He's not any good. He can't throw the ball down the field. It's check down, check down, check down. If the first read isn't there, I think he got sacked 7 times today, and the offensive line struggled. But sometimes it's like, dude, you got to get off your first read and throw the football every once in a while. He's just a terrible player. And it's one of the worst contracts we've ever seen in the NFL. The Watson one is worse considering everything, but DJ is up there. He will get cut this offseason. I think that's pretty obvious. And the only question is will Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll be there to cut him? Because I think John Mara is going to look at this thing pretty hard and wonder if he just makes overhauling changes yet again in New York. Big game from Saquon. Eagles improved to 4-2. Couple of tight games. Packers 24, Texans 22. Newly signed Brandon McManus, game-winning field goal at the buzzer to lead Green Bay to a win. It's kind of a back-and-forth, bizarre game. Most of the points in the first half, it was 19-14 Texans at halftime. And then it was 21-19 Packers for the longest time. Texans drove down, kicked a go-ahead field goal with about 1:40 left, and then Green Bay gets in a range and wins it at the buzzer. 2 really good teams, and my main takeaway is the NFC North just continues to dominate. I mean, another high-profile game that the division wins. And right now, and we'll get to Vikings-Lions in a second, every team in the NFC North is 4-2 or better. It's just an absolute gauntlet of a division. Houston's going to be fine. I don't see anyone in the AFC South that can challenge them. Jacksonville ain't it, although they won today. The Colts squeaked by the Dolphins, who were having to play Tim Boyle late in the game because their quarterback got injured, Huntley, and Anthony Richardson looks horrible. So the Texans are going to cruise in that division. Where this could hurt them is potential seeding, right? Like getting the number 1 versus number 2 or 3 seed. But they're going to be fine overall. For Green Bay, keeping pace in a tough NFC North and obviously the NFC wildcard picture as well. Because the Lions beat the Vikings with 15 seconds left. Jake Bates' game-winning field goal, 31-29, as the Vikings lose for the first time this year. They fall to 5-1. Detroit improves to 5-1. So the top 3 teams in the division all have 5 wins. Bears, who are on a bye this week, they're 4-2. Just a tough division, man. Tough division. Jared Goff was really good. But the Vikings battled. They got up 10-0 and then got killed in the second quarter. Trailed 21-10 at halftime. Retook the lead 29-28 and then gave up the last-minute drive to lose on a game-winning field goal. So if I'm Minnesota, I'm still pretty encouraged here, but a missed opportunity to start to separate in the division. That would have gotten them to 6-0, but now you got 3 teams with 5 wins and a 4th with 4 wins. Buckle up in the NFC North. It is going to be fun over the next couple of months as Detroit picks up a pretty massive win at the end of the day. Quick update on Chiefs-Niners before we get out of here. Minute 55 until halftime. Kansas City leads 14-3. Pair of touchdowns from Kareem Hunt. Chiefs defense has been dominant. Picked off Brock Purdy earlier. Brandon Ayuk with a bad drop on a key 3rd down. So we'll see if the Niners can get going here. But Kansas City looking pretty darn good early on in that one. All right, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. We'll continue to bring you coverage. We got Sunday Night Football tonight. We'll react to that one as the Steelers take on the Jets. Russell Wilson making his first start. We'll see if that's the right decision or not from Mike Tomlin. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks to everybody who tuned into our first live stream earlier. That was a lot of fun. We'll try to do that again when the schedule works out. My name is Harrison Graham. Enjoy the rest of your NFL Sunday.